Hey guys, it's the Vitality Junkie here, and welcome again to Confessions of a Vitality Junkie. Today I'm going to be talking about the 7 steps that I take for getting a good night's sleep. And as you know, sleep is extremely important. Not only are there functions in your body that need to be happening while you're sleeping, but also it just affects your mood, your energy levels, and it's hard to live a life of vitality when you're feeling tired all the time. So here are my quick 7 steps to getting a really good sleep. The first is really sticking to a sleep schedule. I've talked about this before, but our bodies are set to our biological clocks and our circadian rhythms. So our bodies knows when it's tired, when it's time to go to sleep, and when it's time to wake up, and we just naturally do that. And so we need to follow that all the time, not just on weekdays, but every single day of the week. We want to really stick to our circadian rhythms. You may find on weekends you do tend to sleep a little bit longer, maybe perhaps because you're catching up on some sleep debt, but otherwise, going to bed and waking up around the same time every day, including weekends, is really important. So that's one thing that I do. The next thing, number 2, is creating a really good bedtime ritual. And I've noticed that this has hugely impacted my sleep. I already thought I was a good sleeper, but really focusing on a really nice, relaxing bedtime routine. There's a lot of things I've changed recently, but I'm thinking that this is one of the things that has allowed me to get into an even deeper sleep and have a really good sleep. And what I've done is I've eliminated TV and phone use at least a half an hour, if not longer, before my sleep time. And I really focus, if I'm at least on the phone, I really focus on choosing positive things to be looking at. So I try and get rid of any negativity that might come my way for at least half an hour to an hour before I go to bed. I mentioned this in another video, but your body or your subconscious mind processes up to 6 times more what you've listened to, heard in the last 45 minutes before you go to sleep. So it's important that what you're putting in your subconscious mind and what you're thinking about in the 45 minutes before you go to sleep are all positive things rather than negative things, the news, horror movies, Datelines. I used to love watching Dateline, but it's scary. And so watching those things before you go to bed are bound to keep you up in the nighttime, even if you do fall asleep right away. So that's one thing that I've done. I've gotten rid of any negative stimulation. And it's my time for my positive thinking. And it's such a great way to end the day as well. So the first thing I do is I practice gratitude always. So I think about my day, what I'm grateful for. And I also think about maybe some negative things that have happened in the day or some situations that I thought didn't quite go the way I thought they would, and try to see it from a different perspective and try to find the positive in it. And I know it sounds kind of I don't know what the right word is, but Pollyanna maybe, to be trying to see the positive always, but it really does impact your mood and the way you are in the day. So I really do, right before I'm going to bed, think about the positive things that had happened in my day. If something negative did happen, what's the positive that I can take out of it, rather than letting it fester and bother me and cause me stress or anxiety when I don't need to have that in my life. And so I'll do that, and then I always look at reading positive affirmations. And I'll probably do another video on positive affirmations, but I actually have a binder. It's my vision board. I used to have a vision board on a board, and I decided to put it in a binder because I wanted to be able to carry it around with me wherever I went. So if I went on vacation or on a road trip or something, it was something that I could take with me, and I have all my goals listed in it. I have my affirmations, my work affirmations, my personal affirmations, and then my vision board type of pictures and things that I always look at every night before I go to bed. And it's just fun, and it's more positive than again watching the news. And it also helps with my visualization. So after I've done all that, I'll usually, as I'm falling asleep and I've closed my eyes, turn the lights off, I will try and visualize some of the goals that I want to achieve, and And visualization actually has been found to be impactful on reaching goals and having success. So that's something that I've included. And I also do a lot of positive reading. So if I'm reading material or even watching YouTube videos, even if I am on my phone, I can still watch something that's more of a positive nature rather than something that's negative and something that's going to be processing in my subconscious mind through the night. So that's number two. So that's my bedtime ritual. And then number three, I always try and manage my sleep. So what tends to happen is if you're not getting your whatever amount of sleep you're supposed to get. So for me, I know I need to get about 8 hours of sleep. And if I've not gotten that through the week for some reason, or I've stayed up late one night, I know that at some point I need to catch up on that on the weekend. So I always plan to manage that time and maybe go to bed slightly early. Again, your bodies are set to a biological clock, so you can try and go to bed earlier, and unless you have really bad sleep debt, it's going to be hard to go to sleep way earlier. But if you have a little bit of debt, maybe it's going to sleep an extra half an hour early, and maybe you can sleep in an extra half an hour, and that alone will make up an hour at least of maybe some sleep that you missed through the week. So I try and manage that. And if I have to, if it's been a really late night, I will take a nap in the afternoon. A lot of people think that your afternoon crash is from eating lunch, but for us, this actually isn't from your meal, but it's actually a time where your clock, your biological clock, is actually at its weakest, and so that's a time where you tend to get more tired. So in the early to mid afternoons, if you're feeling a dip and you're feeling really tired, it probably means you do have some sleep debt. You can either take a nap or plan to go to bed slightly earlier than that evening, and then it's also obviously weakest. Your clock is the weakest when you're going to bed, whatever time. I know for me that usually starts around 9 o'clock. I start to feel like I'm getting a little bit tired. So so I manage my sleep that way. So if I'm feeling tired ever during the week or on the weekend after lunch around 1-2 o'clock, then I know that I probably have some sleep debt there. And basically with sleep debt, just very quickly, to know if you have sleep debt is if you try and take a nap, if you fall asleep within 5 minutes, you definitely have sleep debt. If it takes you 10 to 15 minutes, there's a little bit there possibly. But if it takes you more than 15 minutes to fall asleep, then you don't have sleep debt. So if you're still awake after 15 minutes of trying to take a nap, then you probably don't have sleep debt and you're good to go till you go to bed that night. So that's managing your sleep. That's number three. Number four is exercise. And believe it or not, exercise actually helps you sleep better. So it is important not only for your health, but to incorporate exercise into your lifestyle to help you sleep better. You don't want to be exercising right before you go to bed, but even just an hour before or earlier will have a huge impact on your sleep. I notice a huge difference on days when I'm doing cardio. My sleep is so much better. The trouble I run into is I have to work out on the evenings after my kids go to bed. So it's around between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, and I drink a lot of water. So I do tend to have to go to the washroom at night, but I know it's because of my drinking water for my exercise. But if I can avoid it, I'll try and drink more water through the day and less in the evening, so I don't have to go to the washroom so much at night. So exercise is number four. Number five, investing in a comfortable mattress and pillow. And I'll tell you a story. So my husband and I, when we moved into our new house, we actually gave our bed to our son because we knew eventually we'd move into a king bed in our new house. And we just had a queen mattress that was on a metal frame, but it had wheels on the bottom. So every time one of us moved, it woke the other person up. And I moved a lot because I would get up in the night to go to the washroom. So we would constantly wake each other up through the night. And it didn't, we weren't up for hours in the night, but it was still disruptive. And so we still found we'd be tired through the day. And finally, I just said to my husband, I know why we weren't ready to buy the king bed is because we didn't have a frame and we needed to buy dressers and have it all matched. So we thought, I just said, we're buying a king mattress and box spring, and if we have to sleep on the floor, we're just going to put it on the floor. I think it'll be so much better. And we're so glad that we did that. We got rid of the metal frame. There's no more wheels. We do not wake each other up at night from moving anymore because we're in this giant bed and it's comfortable. It's a really good quality bed that we got, and our pillows are really good. And so we made the investment. We spend a third of our lives in our beds. We might as well make sure that they're comfortable and that we're feeling that we're comfortable instead of constantly waking up and moving each other around and that sort of thing. So that is number 5. Number 6 is limiting caffeine and alcohol. And again, I can speak to this, not so much on caffeine, because I'm caffeined out by 11 o'clock, 12 noon. I can't have any more caffeine after that. But alcohol has a huge effect on the way you sleep. And you'll notice that when you're drinking, I can probably, for myself, I can have 1 glass of red wine and I'm good. But if I go to that second glass, it's very easy to fall asleep. But as soon as the alcohol starts to wear off, in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I'll be up for an hour. And I know it's the alcohol. So trying to limit the alcohol that you do have, or expect that if you're going to have a lot more than a couple of glasses, it's probably going to affect your sleep. And so I plan for it. If I know there's a night, for example, on Friday night, I knew we were going out. I knew we were going to have drinks. And so we didn't have any other plans this weekend. So I knew I was probably going to struggle to sleep on Friday night, but I would make up for it on Saturday. And so that was what my plan was. So I went to bed earlier on Saturday. I ended up waking up at my normal time around 6 on Saturday morning, but today is 6 on Sunday morning, and that's today, and I feel fantastic. I'm not tired, so I obviously got enough sleep to make up for the sleep debt that I had the night before. So it's just, again, managing it and planning it out so that you know if one night's going to be bad, you just take it, you know what's going to happen, and then you make up for it the next day. So that's number 6. And then the last thing I do is I create a positive sleep environment. So a couple things you can do with that is lowering the temperature in the room. So having it be cooler rather than warm. Anywhere from 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit is good. You don't want it obviously too cold, but too warm will again keep you up in the night. There's lots of times where I get woken up because I'm too warm. And so we have to open the windows or somehow get it a little bit cooler. Maybe it's taking pajamas off or whatever, just to keep it a little bit cooler. And then reducing any light in your room. So we have our room's pretty dark. The sun rises on the opposite side of the house, so we're pretty good. But if it wasn't that way, I'd probably consider blackout blinds, something to make it so that in the mornings there's not too much light in the room. And then reducing noise as well. So if you can avoid either eliminating noise that you might have in your room or using earplugs. I'm lucky, my husband doesn't snore. He usually will only snore if he's sick or if he's had a bit too much to drink. And on those nights, we usually know, and either he'll go straight to bed in the spare room or he'll sneak upstairs if he's keeping me up. So there's nothing wrong with I don't feel anyways, with having to go into different rooms to protect each of your sleeps. I know for my husband, when he's snoring, he can still sleep through the night, but he keeps waking up because he feels like he's waking me up and he feels like he's bothering me. So if it's a particular night like that, we'll definitely sleep in separate rooms. And to be quite honest, if your spouse is a chronic snorer, there's a chronic noise that's continuously bothering you, I don't think there's anything wrong with going into separate areas and both of you having a good night's sleep rather than torturing yourselves just for the sake of sleeping in the same bed. I think they had it right, centuries ago when men and women used to sleep in their own rooms. It's comforting, and it's you're much more able to have a better sleep when you're by yourself than sharing a bed. But anyways, those are my 7 tips to getting a good night's sleep. I hope that one of those tips was able to help you. And again, if any of you have any tips or ideas that you want to share, or any comments, please add your comments below this video. We'll talk to you guys soon.